Welcome to Films I Watched in Film School. I'm Brianna, and with me, like last time,
Allie.
Kyle is also here.
Yes.
And today we are discussing Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 film Psycho, which I've had to watch for two classes. One, a Movies of the 60s class, and the other, an Alfred Hitchcock class.
I often just watch it recreationally, so.
This was the second time I've seen it, because I did see it before, at Brianna's request. And then, also at Brianna's request was this time. I do like it.
It's not my favorite Hitchcock film, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's the one that, like, culturally we all know the best.
Yeah, it kind of bums me out, actually, because I wish you could go into it not, like, culturally spoiled for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like The Birds. Like, I wish that there was a way for people to go into it not knowing the twist, because it's, I think, a much more interesting movie if you don't know what's happening. But it's just not really, it's like the Luke, I am your father
Yeah.
of the 60s.
Yeah.
It's impossible to go into Psycho completely blind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know something, like you know the score, or like you even know like that animated bit during the credits in the beginning. Like people have copied that.
Yeah.
Like if you watch 80s horror, you've seen Reanimator.
Yeah.
You know, like it's one of those things culturally that's just gotten so ingrained in movies.
Oh yeah, the shower scene gets parodied in everything. They did it in Dexter's Lab once.
Oh my god.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember what my favorite shower parody was. Didn't they do it in... It's not my favorite because it's Family Guy, but didn't they do it in Family Guy at some point?
It was alluded to.
Okay.
I think also just, at this point, this is why there's a shower scene in every slasher movie.
Yes.
Like it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
even a parody anymore. It's become a genre thing.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
have to put in a shower scene, and, like, even if it's not this kind of shower scene, there has to be a scene where your main girl is in the shower.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Speaking of the main girl, so Marion Crane, one of the first things that we really started talking about while we were watching it was you noticed the 50s makeup.
Yeah, no, I do like, I don't know, so I'm a big weirdo about makeup, and I feel like whenever we watch older movies, I'm always just like, what? They did that? Because it's very different from what we do today, but they, 50s styling and makeup was very about getting to the, like, proper shape for a woman, so that's why the very cinch waist, the very, like, aggressive bullet bras and shoulders, like, why everybody has this, like, not quite the same haircut, but a very similar one, because it's about trying to change your face shape. Like, the haircut is meant to, if you have an oval face, you have a specific haircut, and if you don't have an oval face, you have a haircut that's meant to sort of make it seem like you do have an oval face. But, Janet Leigh? Yeah.
Mhm.
Her eyes are slightly downturned, which is not the 50s look. So if you look at any close-ups of her eye, they've actually drawn her a new lash line. Like, yeah, no, because like, it doesn't...
Yeah, and I never noticed it until you pointed it out, and I was like going in, like, what?
Yeah, no, her eyes are slightly downturned at the ends, which is, normal. Most people have that. But they've, if you look at when she, like, closes her eyes, they've drawn in a new lash line at the end. It goes up into the cat flick, and it's not even touching her lash line anymore. Yeah, but I just thought that was neat.
It is.
I have no input on Janet's makeup.
This was the first time around watching it where I was really saw, I was like, oh yeah, you're Jamie Lee's mom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like, I don't know why it never hit before, but this watch in particular, because we were talking about how we notice different things every time, and this time I was just like...
I think...
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
For those of you watching at home that are unaware, Janet Leigh is Jamie Lee Curtis's mother.
Yes.
So, for those of you watching at home.
Yeah.
Listening.
I don't care. They're listening to this while they're watching something.
Fair. But yeah, no, I think for me was because we watched Some Like It Hot for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Somewhat recently, or I watched it for the first time. You love that movie.
Yeah, it's one of my top 5.
But and I now know what Tony Curtis's face looks like, and I was like, oh yeah. Like when you see the baby, like you know the celebrity baby pictures,
Yeah.
like where you take two celebrities and kind of mush them together. That's exactly what Jamie Lee Curtis looks like.
Seriously.
But it's like you need to be able to picture both halves before you're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now it makes sense.
For sure. You get a really good look at it, oddly enough, in Halloween H2O as well.
Yeah.
Because Janet Leigh plays Laurie Strode's secretary.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, she's in they're in a few scenes too where they're just talking face to face, and you can see it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
So how else did, what else did we... I'm trying to remember what I noticed, other than Janet Leigh, but we had talked about other things that we noticed the last time we watched it.
I think one of mine was a thing that, like you guys were talking about the parodies, but the thing that the parodies never quite get, and like as somebody who's seen more parodies than I've seen this movie, that no one ever quite gets that Norman Bates is supposed to be charming.
Yeah!
Like, I don't know, he always comes off creepy right out the gate in, like, parodies and, like, remakes, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, in this one, he's adorable. Like, he seems just like a nice, chill guy, until he doesn't anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And
like...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You're good.
And that was, like, Anthony Perkins' whole thing, like, during his early career was, like, I am charming sport boy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it was weird. Like, he was in a lot of rom-coms and stuff, and then he did this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's really good at, like, I think also I noticed at, like, a lot of the points where somebody's about to sort of figure out what he's done, you're rooting for Norman. Like, you're not...
Oh, yeah, like when Arbogast is... Like, he's not hassling him, he's doing his job.
Yeah.
But...
No, I like him more every time I watch the movie, because the first time I was like, that was how I felt. I was like, stop hassling that nice motel boy.
Yeah.
You know? And then this time around, I was like, Arbogast just wants Janet Leigh to be safe, because sometimes I forget her name's Marion Crane in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like letting her sister know what he's found and where he's going, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll just keep you updated, because, you know, he thinks Marion's sister's a nice lady.
Yeah, that was something that I never noticed before until you pointed it out, because he was hired by Marion's, like, boss and the client and whatnot to track her down and find the money.
Yeah.
He's not reporting to them after he meets, like, Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he keeps telling her what's up.
Yeah.
Which I always liked.
Yeah. No, that's solid.
R.I.P. Arbogast.
There is something you noticed for the first time about the names of the characters.
Oh, yeah, the birds. So the only characters that die in the movie have bird names. Marion Crane and Detective Arbogast. I always forget his first name.
Detective.
Yeah.
Mr. Detective Arbogast. And actually, Allie and I had watched a YouTube video on that forever ago, and I had just completely forgotten, and then it just hit me again while we were watching.
I was going to give you credit for that one.
Nah, I don't deserve it. I do not deserve it. But yeah, and Norman, in one of the earlier scenes of the movie, he and Marion are talking in a room full of birds that he stuffed. So it was just a cool thing that I had re-noticed. Also, something really important about this movie that I always like to talk about is how it changed the way that we go to theaters and experience movies. Because in the class that I took, that was where I had learned about it, was because of the way the movie was laid out. And in movie theaters, you could just go in at any time. Like, you would just go in, pay for your ticket, and because normally they would be shown in, like, double features.
Okay.
Or something like that, and they would just be like, oh, okay, go in, you know, and you're there, like, with the whole family, and you're all meeting up, and you can just come in whenever, and then you just watch it from the point where you started, and then it begins again, and you just watch up to that point.
Okay.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
But with this one, because Janet Leigh is only in it for the first, 30 minutes.
Yeah, spoiler alert for a 60-year-old movie.
Yeah.
I mean, as previously discussed, it's been culturally spoiled to shit.
It truly has. Marion dies partway through the movie. We've still got a bunch of movie, and they're like, who the heck is this Anthony Perkins kid, and why do I care? You know, so what Hitchcock did, the big part of the marketing was that you have to get there on time, and you cannot go in once the movie has started.
Yeah. Alfred Hitchcock actually used this as a major, publicity stunt, basically. Every theater that was showing Psycho, there was a cardboard cutout of Alfred Hitchcock pointing at his watch.
Yeah.
Set up in the lobby. Every radio advertisement for Psycho was talking about how you can't get in after it starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, honestly, it worked out great.
Yeah.
In Hitchcock's favor.
Watching a movie, that's like when you catch a movie, on TV, just in pieces. I don't want to live like that anymore.
No, same. It never occurred to me that we watched movies differently in theaters. I always figured, oh yeah, you go there when the movie starts. Because that makes sense.
Right. Why would I go to see a movie and not quite understand it because I got there 20 minutes after it started?
Yeah, no.
Why wouldn't I just wait?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, well, you could be a lunatic in the 50s and spend your entire day at the theater.
Yeah.
Because they're showing 4 different movies and 9 cartoons and a newsreel.
Yeah. Yup. Yup. Oh yeah, movie theaters are way different now. I remembered I took a film history class and they were talking about Nickelodeons.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time I had ever heard that word used in the context of movie theaters and not the station, not the channel Nickelodeon.
Will you explain it? Because as a non-film student, I was very confused as to why you were talking about Nick.
So
Nickelodeon.
I'm trying to remember. So correct me if I'm wrong. I believe.
Why
So
would
this
I know?
is. Oh god.
I might.
Maybe. If I remember correctly, Nickelodeons were the ones where you stand in a line. So this is before the big screens and everything. You're going up to a little box and you're watching a little motion picture inside. You got your eyes to the box and you're watching the little moving pictures inside. You throw in a quarter and you watch a little short.
Weird.
And if I remember correctly, that's how Nickelodeons worked.
Yeah.
It wasn't seating. It was just a room full of these contraptions. We've come a long way from the Lumiere brothers train clip, which is still my favorite thing ever about movies.
I think that's the one where people were running out of the theater because they thought
Yeah.
the train was gonna hit. These people were just it's magic! It's a magic train! Anyway, Psycho.
Yes.
So Psycho. A brief Nickelodeon detour. Never hurt nobody. So, Kyle, you brought up... You got real excited.
Yes, my stressor for this film. Yes.
You brought up...
Wait,
which one?
what's your stressor for this film?
The headlights, I'm assuming?
Oh,
yeah.
I wasn't going to bring up the headlights, but if you want to talk about the headlights first,
Okay,
yes, please.
I'm not as stressed about it now, because it's not in the moment.
We were all very stressed.
We
about
were
it.
all very stressed
So
about this, to be
it's
fair.
the scene right before Marion gets to the hotel and bugs the crap out of me, because it's pouring rain. First off, they're in, California, so why is it pouring rain? But it's pouring rain, it's the middle of the night, she's sleep deprived, she's driving without her headlights on.
Yeah.
And they keep cutting back to, the road in front of her, and you can't see.
Oh, no.
Marion, turn your headlights on.
Marion, your headlights!
You're stressing me out, Marion. Turn on your headlights.
Marion! we did use this accent. It's a good accent.
Marion, turn on your headlights.
For the love
Marion!
of God, Marion! The Vince Vaughn version. You said you had
Yeah.
thoughts regarding that one.
Yes, I do. And you angry, uppity film people out there are going to hear some opinions. Okay?
I'm only kind of uppity.
Here's the kicker here. Everyone dunks on the Vince Vaughn version, calls it the worst thing ever. How can it be the worst thing ever? It's a shot-for-shot remake of this movie.
It is.
It is genuinely continuity errors and all included. it is an updated movie. It is an updated version of Psycho. It looks slightly newer, but every character is doing the exact same thing. How is it bad?
Can I make an argument? I hate shot-for-shot remakes. I don't... If you're gonna remake it, you need to bring something new or interesting to the table. And if your thing is just updated, like, graphics, or, like now it's in color, don't. Like...
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, it's like, the cast for it, you have... Here's your cast list, okay? Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates, Anne Heche as Marion Crane, William H. Macy is Arbogast, and then for Lila, that was her name. That's the sister's name.
Yeah.
And then for Sam Loomis and Lila Crane, you have Viggo Mortensen and Julianne Moore.
I mean, I do like...
That's fun.
I do like the cast, but at the same time, it's like, if it's just a shot-for-shot remake and the only real draw is, hey, look at this cool cast we got,
like,
why?
I don't know. The changes are subtle, like the interaction, like the way the lines are delivered, it's a little more subtle. Mm-hmm. They don't just do this accent the entire time and go blow for blow. Like,
yeah, I think that's sort of, not to say that you're wrong, because I haven't seen it. It might actually be really good, but that's just kind of my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know. It's solid. The acting is good in it. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good.
That is the main argument I've heard against the movie, is that the acting is not good.
No.
But I haven't seen it, so I can't say anything.
It's fine.
You, Kyle, also were making some connections between this and your favorite slasher franchise.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yeah, no, I had this in my back pocket. I don't take notes, because notes are for nerds. But...
Well...
Yes. Anyway... so, time for a little bit of history. Feel free to interject at any point, because I'm going to be going for a while.
I mean, I'm gonna.
Okay.
Like, I can't help myself at this point.
Okay. So, I absorb movie trivia like a horrible little sponge. And Psycho was one of the first movies I really did that with. And it led to a branching into a fondness for true crime, a fondness for the horror genre in general. One of the main inspirations for Psycho, for Norman Bates specifically, was Wisconsin's hometown hero and ghoul, Ed Gein.
I'm gonna need you to stop calling him that first one.
Okay, local ghoul, Ed Gein.
Fine with that.
Alright.
Yeah,
yes.
That's better.
Also, how can you have a hometown hero for a state? It's not a town, it's a state. Go on, continue.
So, Ed Gein, based on the unconventional nature of his crimes, he'd killed a few people, but his big things were his bizarre relationship with his mother, his grave robbing, and...
Dressing like a clown?
No, he didn't dress like a clown. That was a different fella.
Okay. I'm not good with true crime. I should stop talking.
Anyway, he was so unconventional for the time, like they caught him in the 50s, that it sparked a weird imagination in a lot of people. And there are 3 prolific cinema killers directly inspired by Ed Gein. You got Norman Bates, you have Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
What very different people.
Extremely. But it's because he sparked a lot of imagination.
This isn't what I was talking about when I prompted you.
What were you talking about?
Dr. Loomis.
What Allie was talking about, and I am going to springboard off of this for more things, probably. To pay tribute to Psycho, when John Carpenter was writing 1978's perennial classic Halloween. What?
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 You're mouthing something.
Uh-uh.
Anyway, to pay tribute to Psycho, John Carpenter named one of his protagonists Dr. Sam Loomis after Sam Loomis from Psycho. Yes. And until I'm prompted again, because I will end up just hijacking this entire thing by talking about how Psycho eventually led to the structuring of the slasher franchise, and we'll be here the rest of the day.
I mean, there is the other very obvious parallel between Psycho and Halloween, in that Jamie Lee Curtis's Janet Leigh's daughter.
Yes.
I mean, so I think that does kind of make sense, because I think you did bring this up, that some people call Psycho the sort of like original slasher, which you don't necessarily agree with.
Yeah, I don't look at it that way, because it doesn't. Two people die in Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Two people die in Psycho, and I feel like it is not necessarily the first slasher movie. It led to it.
Yeah, like if it's a template for Halloween, that might...
Yes, things that were inspired by Psycho or were influenced by Psycho led to it. Like, yes. And honestly, the sequels to Psycho that came out later, Psycho 2, Psycho 3, 4 doesn't really count in this, but
I haven't seen any of them.
Those follow more of a slasher movie template. There are a lot more characters being killed.
Yeah.
There's a lot more blood. Oh, excuse me. There's a lot more blood. Certain characters are introduced just to be killed.
Yeah.
But honestly, the thing is, too, Anthony Perkins came back for all of them, and he's great through the entire thing.
Yeah, I don't know if that man ever gave a bad performance. He was anything I've seen him in, he was just like 100% in.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did I
don't know.
Well, we were talking about slasher, how this is like, I've heard the term proto-slasher get thrown around sometimes.
Yeah.
And, like, I weirdly wouldn't even consider this that. Like, the early... Some important elements to a slasher movie are definitely present in Psycho. But when I think of, like, early slasher movies, I think of stuff like Halloween. Like, and how that kind of movie would turn into, like, a Friday the 13th or a Nightmare.
Yes.
You know?
I feel like, yeah, like what you were saying, like I don't think it's a slasher. It is, I mean, if you want to call it a proto-slasher, like, I guess, but it's not, it's pretty solidly a thriller. I think most of Hitchcock's stuff they're pretty solidly thrillers, because, I don't know, actually, now I'm finding myself trying to figure out what the difference is if people are dying in both. I think because it's not really about the body count.
Yeah.
Is what it is for me.
Because... Yeah, Psycho's a mystery.
Yeah, well, it's a mystery where you already know the answer, and it's all about that, like, the tension of when will the characters figure it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that feels like a thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I follow that.
Yeah, but, I mean, in other slashers, it's even if you know who's doing it, which you don't always... Like in Scream, a lot of those types, it's sort of about figuring out who the killer is.
Mm-hmm.
It's still, even if you already know who the killer is, it's about the body count.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how many people can this guy kill before we figure out how to stop him?
Yeah. And, yeah, Psycho doesn't have any of that.
Yeah.
They spoon-feed us immediately with, like, yes, this is your killer.
Yeah.
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 Yes, this is your killer. And the killer, like, the characters are all pretty...
Honestly, the
pretty
tension
on the
of
ball.
it doesn't really work if we don't like Norman Bates, because the tension becomes not who killed Marion Crane, it's, okay, so Norman Bates is stuck between his insane mother and a dead body, and we don't want Norman, who we like, to go to jail.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, but we do want someone to stop his mom.
Yeah, and if you don't know the twist, that works really well. Honestly, even when you do know the twist, because it doesn't really work if you're not rooting for Norman Bates, which is why, I don't know, I felt like I needed to bring up earlier that he's very charming. Like, he just seems like a nice, kind of confused boy.
Yeah.
Like,
He's a little awkward. He's courteous. He's very gentlemanly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just an awkward man-child.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Just a shy boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolute sweetheart.
I think the three of us all had a lot to say about how this movie treats mental health. In particular, the scene with, was he a psychiatrist, psychologist?
Oh, the rundown.
Psychotherapist. Yeah. Well, that scene in and of itself, I loathe.
I feel like that one wasn't so much on mental health for me. It was more like, thanks for putting in a scene at the very end where you explain the movie to the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that scene.
Honestly, like, a lot of the... I don't mind it. Like Allie said, it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
But, like, audience at the time, they'd never seen anything like that. And, you know, mental health was basically witchcraft at that point still.
Yeah.
So we have to explain something. Some of their terminology is a little outdated, but...
Yeah, a lot of the terminology is outdated. But I did, like, I think I felt... Like, I've seen a lot... I've read a lot of stuff about, like, how Psycho treats mental illness. And, like, usually they're just like, wow, bad.
Yeah.
Wow, bad. And it's like, oh, yes. But they did also... I noticed this time around when Norman and Marion are talking in the parlor, he's talking about institutions, and he has a lot to say about the state of things in institutions.
Yes.
Which I thought was, like, I had never really thought about it before, but I thought it was really neat commentary, especially for the time when they were just like, yeah, your wife's, she's got the hysterics. Oh, she wants to vote. No. Like, yeah.
I'm sorry, she wants her own bank account?
Goodness, no. Institution.
I'll get the lobotomy needle.
Yeah. And, like, very valid criticism, because institutions at that time, like, back then, historically, terrifying and terrible. So it was something I had never thought about before when I had watched this movie.
Yeah.
When people make commentary on this movie and they're like, yeah, bad, it's because usually when this disorder is put in movies, it's because it's like Sybil.
Yeah.
You know, it gets the Sybil treatment where it's like, yes, my bad personality that is dark and evil. And it's like, no, that's not really how that...
Yeah, there isn't usually a killer sitting in the gray matter.
Yeah, that's sort of, I think the complaint is just, it's a horror movie trope and, like, a mystery trope to have one of the personalities be a serial killer to the point where, like, that's sort of what people assume when they think of it now.
No. Okay, that tracks.
Makes a movie that has, like, oh, that's a neat idea, and then 1,000 people just make that same movie because they weren't quite getting that wasn't why it was cool.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah, they just wanted to copy a twist.
Yeah.
I just remembered, you watched a lot of the movies with me for my Hitchcock class. You were there for a couple of them, Kyle, but Allie was there for quite a few of them. And one time, I think we were watching To Catch a Thief.
Possibly.
And you were like, so all of Alfred Hitchcock's movies are just rom-coms with a thriller twist.
Yeah, very elaborate rom-coms, I think.
Yeah, yes, it is. And I love that description of Hitchcock movies because my favorite Hitchcock quote ever, and I'm paraphrasing, it's something like, film your murders like love scenes and film your love scenes like murders. And first of all, like, dramatic ass. Like, okay. Like, but also that he did that? Like, you go back after hearing that and you watch some of these and it's like, oh, yeah.
Well, because, like, even this one, it starts off, like, the first half of the film, the plot is she steals $40,000 so she can run away with her boyfriend who won't marry her until he can pay his way out of some debt. And then on the way there, she gets caught in a rainstorm and winds up washing up at a motel with a, like, very charming man behind the counter. Mm-hmm. That's a rom-com.
Yeah.
And, like, and then the twist is that instead of him being a nice boy that becomes the third in the love triangle, the twist is that he kills her. Like, you know. Or like The Birds, which is, the way it starts is Tippi Hedren and Clark Gable? Is that who that one is?
No.
Okay.
I don't think Clark Gable was ever in a Hitchcock movie.
Well, Cary Grant. Cary Grant?
He's not in that
North
one.
by Northwest is the one he's in.
And
One of the handsome 50s film men.
the big chins of the 50s.
Yes. Run into each other at a pet shop, get in an argument with some, like, romantic tension, and then he leaves without making a purchase, which he was going to buy 2 lovebirds to give to his sister, and she then decides to buy the lovebirds and track him down to give them to him because of one conversation they had with flirty tension. That's a rom-com. Like, you know?
And then they get attacked by a bunch of birds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like To Catch a Thief is like, the thief is like in retirement and he's trying to catch the person who's impersonating him, but the whole time having weird flirty conversations with Grace Kelly.
Yeah.
Who is, he believes the thief's next target. That's a rom-com.
Yeah. From face value, a rom-com.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, same thing in Rear Window.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, my beautiful socialite girlfriend Grace Kelly has to take care of me while I'm bound to a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Except there's a murderer in the apartment across the way. Mm-hmm. You know? It's, I love Hitchcock plots like that. Also, the guy that we were trying to remember was Rod Taylor. I have no idea who that is. From The Birds.
Mr.
Oh.
50s.
Mr. 50s. Yeah. Mr. 50s.
The handsome 50s film man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all know that Psycho was why Alfred Hitchcock didn't get to shoot something at Disneyland? I don't remember which movie he was working on, but he sent Walt Disney a letter, like, basically requesting, hey, can I film...
Vertigo.
I think...
Oh my god! Please, imagine, let me have this. Imagine for a moment
that she's jumping off of the tower
that
of terror.
Kim Kovac she's on the It's a Small World ride. And instead of...
So I don't recall which movie it was that Alfred Hitchcock wanted to shoot at Disneyland. But Walt Disney sent him a letter back. Just absolutely not. You wrote that awful Psycho movie.
Rope.
Yeah, a couple... Yes. Yes, an ambiguously gay duo kill someone at Disneyland and then throw a party to show off.
They throw the party at Disneyland, and they're still making everyone eat off of that little chest.
Yeah. We brought our table from home. Oh, why?
Don't worry about it. Let's all go on the teacups with the chest.
Teacups, teacups, teacups. So one thing that I notice in a lot of Hitchcock movies is, actually no, that's not how I wanted to start this. I'm going to restart this sentence. I have no sympathy for peepers in films, and that is, it is talking about, like, how sympathetic Norman is. I just want to, like, backtrack a little bit. The moment he peeps is, like, the moment I'm like, no longer.
Oh, yep, we
like,
can't trust
I am
him.
half out. Like,
Well,
we've
like...
still got a lot of movie left, but, like, you took a lot of the trust with you there, Norman.
I think that's kind of the point of that scene, though, is, like, that's... I mean, you get kind of a glimpse of it when they're having a very uncomfortable conversation in his bird room.
The room full of birds.
Yeah, Bran is afraid of birds.
Yeah.
It's
It's his secret friends, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But, like, you get kind of a glimpse of it, but it's sort of like a... Like, it's so subtle, I don't know that everybody would notice it, but then he goes to peep, and that's sort of your clue as the audience to be like, oh, no, this guy's not great. Like...
Bad man. But I think that's weirdly another thing that ties into, like, later slasher movies is their tendency to peep.
Yeah.
Like, isn't one of, like, the proto-slashers, Peeping Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the voyeuristic nature that, like, of the peep that carries over.
The peep.
The peep.
The peep. Can we take a minute to talk about the score?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, why? Kyle! I just think it's neat.
Yeah, I love the Reanimator soundtrack.
Yeah, I'm so glad that they let Alfred Hitchcock use it.
So good, right? I love how I knew the score so much longer than I knew the movie. Like, I had heard the music long before the movie because of, like, again, cultural osmosis and, the re, but it's not even that. It's, like, from the beginning. And also, I like how you hear the music before you see anything in the movie. Like, the strings start and then the opening credits begin.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love the main theme to Psycho, and I wish that saw more parody than even necessarily the shower scene.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. There's something to it. There's a lot of dread.
Yeah.
That comes with just like the first few notes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to, like, picture the music in my head, and all I'm getting is and I'm so sorry I can't contribute to this conversation.
There are similar tones.
I do get a Wicked Witch vibe from Mr. Hitchcock. Just in general.
This is, I'll get you. Pretty.
I hate it. I hated it so much.
Give me the dog.
Dog's feet.
Yeah?
Oh no, this is a thing that I just think about when I think about Alfred Hitchcock that gets me aggressively angry. So it is dog's feet.
Okay.
But there's a story. Alfred Hitchcock spoke almost exclusively in Cockney rhyming slang.
Oh my god.
Which is so you say so you find a homonym, a word that sounds like the word that you want to say, and then you find a synonym for that word, and then you say that. So I forget which actress it was, but it was the first day he worked with a particular actress, and she was very nervous, and like she was jittery on set, and he just kind of walked up to her and he said, "Dog's feet," and then he walked away, and she was like, "What does that mean?" Like, she found someone to translate, and dog's feet are paws. He wanted her to pause, as in calm down.
Close, can I tell you my favorite Alfred Hitchcock story?
Yeah.
It's
not dog's feet?
No. So one time he allegedly said that he referred to actors as cattle. And he was working on a movie with Carole Lombard, I think, who is a 40s actress, because I think she died in the 40s, and Clark Gable's wife later on, brought a cattle to the set after hearing this, even though he kept denying he ever said it. And it's my favorite story.
Yeah.
I actually didn't tell my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
I told my least favorite, but go on.
The
The
Disneyland.
one that haunts me.
Yeah, the Disneyland story is not my favorite.
Ooh.
No, it's actually during the making of Psycho when the prop department finally presented the mother prop to him, and he wanted to test it. He hid it in Janet Leigh's dressing room.
Oh no!
And after she went in, he just hung out by the door and just listened for a few minutes until she found it and just listened to her scream. And he's like, "That's the one." Okay.
We've done it, boys.
We scared a lady.
Terrible man.
Awful man.
I mean, for other reasons that we don't want to get into to keep the tone of the podcast light.
Yes, we have a Birds episode later on the docket, I believe. And
We didn't, but I guess now we do.
Oh, I thought we did.
It's on the list
yes.
of movies I had to watch for the class, but I didn't know if we had picked beyond...
We didn't.
Well, you picked your next one.
Pick.
Okay,
Yeah.
I guess we're watching the Birds.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about how Alfred Hitchcock's a bastard.
A bad, terrible man.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that is it for us. Any last thoughts on Psycho?
No, I think I said all the things.
Please, God, drive with your headlights on if it's raining.
Marion, your headlights!
If you're listening to this in your car, please check if your headlights are on, even if it's like 2 p.m.
Oh, also, screw that cop that was just hassling her.
Yeah. Also, that cop looked a lot like James Woods. We didn't even get to him.
No, he did look like James Woods.
It was weird.
It was
like,
weird. Buff James Woods.
Yeah.
Oh, bad.
It was a bad thing that I just said. That's what he thought he looked like in John Carpenter's Vampires.
When
Oh
really
my
he just
God.
looked like a dad.
Yeah.
He always looks like a dad.
In a jacket that's too big for him. He's
With
like,
all of his other dad vampire hunting friends.
yes.
Wow, we cannot talk about one movie.
No. I'm having a lovely time.
Okay, good.
But okay, so next time we're going to watch Sunset Boulevard, directed by Billy Wilder, just starring, that was stuttering, starring William Holden and Gloria Swanson. And then after that, The Burbs.
Yep, I'm going in fresh into Sunset Boulevard, and judging by the DVD cover, I'm not going to enjoy it.
I think you're going to like it.
But we'll see
More
what
than you
happens.
think you're going to.
Thank you for joining.